Hey everyone, welcome back. As we approach the end of September, we're addressing it, we're talking about it more, which I do believe is a significant improvement from when I started my career. But we need to keep working on it and we need to keep moving forward, keep improving it. So with that, let's get into round 38 of the tactical transition tips. This time the topic is prioritize your mental health. And for the close range group, those of you looking at your transition in less than a year, maybe you're right in the middle of it, acknowledge that your mental health is important. And for the medium range group, those of you looking at your transition in 5 years or so, create a mental health toolkit. And for the long range group, those of you who are just starting your career, you've got at least a decade before your transition, build in mental health retreats.
You transition out is try to model all of the good things, the discipline, the structure, that little bit of rigidity into your everyday life. And I think that that's a great way to make that transition happen, man.
Take the time to invest in yourself because it means everything. That's what the difference is. The difference is not just to collect a check. It's to live 25 years, 30, 40 years after you retire and pay it forward that way.
Close range group, you need to acknowledge that your mental health is important and potentially is already an issue. It's just as important to you, or it should be just as important as your physical health. The jobs that we're in have demanded a basic level of physical fitness throughout our entire career. I'm assuming that most of us have stayed at a minimum baseline level, but I can guarantee that probably the greater majority of us did not prioritize our mental health through our careers. It wasn't something when I came on the job that was talked about openly. It wasn't something that was encouraged. Where it's going to be even more paramount for you right now, though, is you're heading into your transition. That is going to bring a lot of stress to you. Even if you're prepared, there are things that are going to happen, things that are not going to go as exactly planned. Mr. Murphy's going to jump in and kind of mess things up. You need to have a way to stay on course for where you need to end up. And part of that is keep with the physical fitness routine. Whatever it is that you do now that brings you physical benefits, those already play in to your overall mental health. Imagine those times looking back on your career when maybe you're dealing with an injury or maybe just life kind of got in the way and maybe you backed off more than you wanted to with your physical fitness, and think about how your mental space was compromised, how it changed a little bit. Think about that even more as you're heading into your transition, as you're heading into a change of what's been your normal life 20 years, 25, 30 years, whatever it's been. You're going to be moving into something different. Take stock of your mental health as much as your physical health in that moving forward process. You can try and ignore it. Say, oh, you know what? It's not me. I'm fine. But ignoring it won't make it go away. I'm willing to bet there's some red flags that you're ignoring right now. Maybe like me, a couple divorces under your belt. Maybe like me, your natural tendency is to yell, raise your voice, kind of pop off, so to speak. Those are little things that should be indicators that you're not dealing with stress properly. You don't have to always be in control of everything. I know for myself, I'm very much I'll just take care of it myself. You got to step away from that kind of mentality. If you're seeing little things, if you're honest with your spouse, your family, they'll tell you the little indicators. If for whatever reason you're somebody who's already got it in check, maybe you've already been addressing it and you're well ahead of the game, but maybe you're one of the few that has a good balance on it, then I would say you are in the minority and good on you for it. But I think the majority of us probably have some degree of I don't want to say improper, ineffective mental health coping skills. And our family will probably be the first one to point out the little red flags. Maybe they're big red flags. I don't know. You need to evaluate yourself honestly and see where you're at. I would highly recommend that you go talk to somebody. If going and opening up to a complete stranger scares you, makes you uncomfortable, think about maybe starting with a group. It doesn't necessarily have to be a quote unquote mental health group. Maybe it's a group that just kind of meets for coffee. But if you're going to sit with this group of people and their mission is to be open with each other, then you have to go into it and be open yourself. Being closed off and kind of dealing with it the same way of, oh, I'll just take care of it myself, is just going to perpetuate the problem. I also bring back your family into this again. I would say really evaluate if you're talking to your family, not necessarily sharing all of the negatives that we experience in these careers, but are you sharing your apprehensions, your reservations? If you're scared about your transition, if you're unsure of what your future is, are you talking to your family about that? Are you being honest about everything related to leaving these careers? I've said it in other episodes. Yes, there is a loss of identity that comes from moving on from these careers. There's nothing wrong with feeling that sense of, man, I'm going to miss this. Yes, you are. But what's more important? Staying back here being today, or moving forward with the right mindset. So again, talk to somebody, maybe join a group, but most importantly, bring your family into it. Make sure that they're part of your transition process and they're there to be a support platform and a support system for you. You need to think of this, the mental health component, as any other type of mission preparation. You want to be as mentally sharp as you are physically sharp. You want to be able to go into this transition not only knowing that you've got yourself dialed in, you know where you want to get to, and then when you get to that next spot, whatever it is, that you're mentally prepared to deal with that. But in the interim, you are going to experience detours. You're going to experience pivot points. It's bound to happen. You might have the perfect plan in place. Every plan doesn't survive first contact. So just remember, be preparing for this. Prepare yourself physically. Keep doing everything that you're doing today to keep yourself physically fit, but start engaging your mental health and do an honest evaluation if you've got some red flags that need to be addressed. A good place to start, a website that I came across, is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. The website is NAMI, NAMI.org. I'll put it in the show notes. You could also start with your primary care provider. But you owe it to yourself, but you more importantly owe it to your family, because your transition impacts them as much, if not more, than it's impacting you. This episode is brought to you by Softfleet, a tactical fitness company founded by special operations soldiers. Softfleet is dedicated to helping you achieve a healthy lifestyle. From expertly crafted training programs to high-quality proteins, pre-workouts, and sleep and recovery supplements, they've got everything you need to power through your day. Softfleet also has a full line of clothing, They have you covered from shorts to cold weather gear. Embracing the motto, die living, Soflete inspires us all to embrace life with vigor and resilience. So take the first step towards a healthier you. Visit soflete.com. That's SOFLETE.com. And use the promo code TDP2024 to get 20% off your order. Again, that's TDP2024 for 20% off your order. Medium range group. You've got a little bit of time left. You should already be thinking about your transition and the mental health component of leaving these careers. With that, you need to develop, if you don't already have something in place, put it in place now. Start working on it so that you've got a few years to really kind of dial it in before you start heading into your transition. But create, and it's loosely called a tool belt, a toolkit, whatever it is, but it's those things, those tools that allow you, when life starts getting overwhelming, to kind of reduce your stress, find your center, and just kind of manage anxiety. If you already have those kind of things in place, then dive into them deeper and make sure that they're really rock solid and that when you need to rely on them, they are there and truly help you. Not just, I kind of have that in place, but maybe at least perception-wise, you really haven't had to lean on them yet. Make sure that when that time comes and you do have to lean on them, they're solid for you. Address it now. Start making it habitual. Make it part of your daily life. The same way you might go to the gym, the same way you might go to church, the same way you might go see family. Maybe you go to grandma's house every weekend, whatever it is, whatever's habit in your life, make another piece of that your mental health component. Don't leave this for, I'll address that when I get to my transition. You want to have this aspect of you and the inside of you dialed in when you come to your transition. For those of you who have been involved in athletics where there's extended duration of performance, marathon running, doing some of these obstacle course races. My example, I've done an Ironman. The one thing that used to get drilled into my head from training partners and from the coaches that I had early on was, when it comes to your hydration, don't wait till you're thirsty to drink. If you're waiting until you're thirsty to drink, you're done. You might as well just kind of pull to the side of the road because you're already in the negative. You should be drinking on a regular basis and never let yourself get to where you're feeling thirsty. It's the same way with your mental health. Don't leave it for later and think, I'll deal with it at that time. Because once it's already there, it's such a big problem that it's going to explode, not only to you, but it's going to have ancillary impacts on your friends, your family, your coworkers, your job. Start dealing with it now. It's always easier to deal with a problem when it's smaller than when it gets bigger. We've all had those experiences in life where, man, if I would have just addressed this problem when it was the first time it happened, as opposed to the 10th time, but in that first to the 10th time, you've now built a lot of animosity to whatever like, I'm going to bring our spouses back into it. There's something that our spouses do that we don't like. Instead of saying it the first time, we ignore it, but it festers in the back of our head. And then the next time, and then the next. And so finally, by the time we do say something, it never comes out gentle. It always comes out with this wrath that's behind it. Address problems when they're small. Address your mental health issues when they're small, as opposed to letting them kind of build and really get a stronghold on you to where they completely explode when it happens. As I've said before, I truly believe that the physical fitness component of our lifestyle is a huge benefit ancillary-wise to our mental health. But if you enjoy working out, keep staying with that. Don't let that deteriorate. Don't let that fall off thinking, I'm going into my transition. I don't need to be at this level of fitness. Maybe you don't need to be at this level, but don't go 180 degrees the opposite direction and just kind of be like, maybe I'll walk once or twice a week. So whatever your level is now that keeps you, and we all have this, we all have our normal when it comes to physical fitness, stay there. But also think about, are you somebody who maybe needs to force yourself to take some time to meditate, maybe journal? This may sound a little too touchy-feely for some, but think about how that might make you feel to just kind of take some true alone time and just write down how you're feeling. You might be surprised what you'll write when you really let yourself open up. If you don't have hobbies, find some hobbies that you can enjoy doing that really, at best, kind of take you out of what's your norm. Maybe it's playing pool. Maybe it's hiking. Whatever it is, something that really allows you, jigsaw puzzles, I don't know, but allows you to really disconnect, to really kind of take your brain out of everything that's going on that day, that moment, at work, at home, whatever it is, and just let yourself decompress, come down from whatever cliff you're on. And the more frequently you do these hobbies, hopefully that keeps you further from the edge of that cliff. Rely on friends, but try to have friends who are outside of the first responder or veteran circle, people that are different or what we perceive as different than us, because they're going to highlight what we do that might be a little abnormal. And don't deny it, we do some abnormal stuff as a byproduct of these careers. The most important thing, though, is whatever tools you're going to have in your tool belt, in your toolbox, make them habitual. Put them in place. Make it to where you are doing whatever it is on a consistent, regular basis, so that when you truly face stress, anxiety, whatever it's going to be, you're ready for it. I'll use the analogy of a tactical reload. When you have that lull in the gunfight, reload, get a full magazine back into it. Just simply practicing magazine exchanges. Imagine if you had no shooting experience at all. Imagine you're a firefighter running hose in a stressful situation, getting it connected to a fire hydrant. That in itself, what do they always say? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Try to do that when you're barely used to doing that aspect of the job in a stressful environment. It's going to look like the Keystone Cops. It's going to look like a Chinese fire drill, as opposed to if you just practice it day in and day out. Then when the stress hits, that is a non-factor. You're doing magazine changes. You're doing, hose connects without even thinking about it. That's how you should be dealing with your mental health. Little things that just become habitual, so that when stuff really ramps up, you're not then thinking, well, now what do I do? Oh, wait, I have to go meditate. Oh, wait, I have to go work out. Oh, wait, I got to go sit and be by myself. Those little things, you're already doing it without thinking about it. This episode is brought to you by Trident Coffee, the veteran-owned brand where every sip inspires you to live life full steam ahead. I've been drinking their coffees for a while now, and I'm glad to partner with a company whose products I use. At Trident, they're more than just coffee. They're storytellers. Crafted by veterans, their instant cold brew is perfect for those who serve, those who have served, and anyone who values wellness. Featuring natural ingredients like organic mushrooms, adaptogens, and nootropics, it's more than just a morning pick-me-up. It's your new wellness ritual. Enjoy it at home or on the go, wherever your day takes you. Trident Coffee isn't just about great-tasting coffee. It's about empowering you to be the healthiest version of yourself, because great veterans make great citizens. Try their instant cold brew today, along with many other coffee products, and taste the freedom of wellness. Remember, when you choose Trident, you're not just choosing coffee. You're choosing a path of connection through health and wellness. Head on over to tridentcoffee.com and use the promo code TDP15 for 15% off your order. Again, that's TDP15 for 15% off your order. Long Range Group. You've got time ahead of you. but that time is not finite or infinite. Your transition is coming. It just may seem further down the road, and it's a lot easier to get focused on, oh, wow, I'm doing X, Y, and Z today. Let me push off the other stuff till tomorrow. You have to make that choice. I would say, though, make addressing your mental health as important as any other skill set that you're building in these careers. Prioritize it as if it is a critical skill. Getting a tourniquet on, like I said, magazine exchanges, writing reports, team movements, all of those things that are what we do every day, and we want to be the best we can. But the thing is that we never make that critical skill of being the best we can be when we're away from these jobs equally important. So I'm not saying make it the most important thing, but definitely move it up in the priority scale to where it becomes maybe that top 3, that top 5, whatever it is for you based on where your career is moving forward. But definitely don't let it fall down the ladder and to the point that it even becomes an afterthought. I say a mental health retreat. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's just something that you start building into your daily life. And when I say daily life, it doesn't have to be daily. It's just what encompasses life for you. It's something that you set aside on a regular basis that is for you to decompress, to come back to center, whatever center is for you. It might be literally an hour walk around your neighborhood, but you do it once a week, twice a week, and it's just you by yourself in your thoughts. Maybe it's without the earbuds in, listening to music. Maybe it is with earbuds in, but you're listening to some sort of meditative music, chants, whatever it is, but something that really kind of allows you to get within yourself, get inside yourself, start really acknowledging how these jobs make you feel and how are you addressing those feelings. Maybe you get to a point where you go, you know what? How I'm feeling with these jobs is too excessive, and consider maybe these aren't the careers for you. I don't believe so. I think that most of us came to these careers knowing what they were about and what we wanted to do with them. All I'm saying is find a way, because these careers will dump a pile of bricks on you every single day that you're on the job. Find a way to deal with that pile of bricks so that it doesn't keep weighing you down and you're not carrying those bricks forward till the next pile of bricks. When you start this process, explain to your family what you're needing from it and what its benefits are. And one of the things that is a true ancillary benefit to you figuring out your center or figuring out what gets you back to your center is it benefits your family. You obviously want to be the best you can be at work, but we often forget that we spend a lot of time with our family, and that pile of bricks that we bring from work that we don't necessarily offload properly before we get home now becomes a pile of bricks on our family. But what ends up happening is that type A in us, oh, I can't let my family carry this load of bricks. So we think in our heads, I'm still carrying it, but in turn, we are impacting our family through our actions, through our behaviors, through our closed off mindsets, through our lack of communication, all those things that don't make us good at home. You want to be good at work and you want to be good at home. Sit down, make a schedule, plan it. Once you have it in place, don't push it off. I know a lot of us will go, man, I'm so busy. I got kids running here. I got this. I get it. Life gets in the way. But life isn't going to care when you have that breakdown, or your family per se isn't going to care when they finally get tired of dealing with you. So make it a priority. Take an hour a week to start And it may literally be, I'm going to go sit in the back bedroom, close the door, have no TV on. It's just my alone time. Big sign on the door, do not disturb. And your family has to understand that you need that time to get right with yourself. They should be supportive of this. If for whatever reason, your spouse is like, oh, that's garbage, you don't need, then that's something that you need to potentially work on in your relationship. But let your family know that this is something that you need and you need their assistance to accomplish it. Trying to play catch up with your mental health is not going to be beneficial for you, and it's definitely not going to be beneficial for your family. The one thing that these careers are sure to give us is a lot of trauma, a lot of negative, a lot of bricks to carry. We've got to figure out a way to offload those bricks. And starting now, making it habitual today at the beginning of your career is definitely going to pay off dividends as you go further into your career and as you approach your transition. Like I've said before, we have this unusual knack of thinking, oh man, I've got this on lock. I'm dealing with things. I'm willing to bet the greater majority of us are not dealing with things properly, or at least not dealing with them as good as in our head we're thinking with them. So address it today. Attack those little problems now. Don't let them get big, and make it your goal to exit these careers like you were before you started these careers. Just be you, and make sure that when you pop out on the other end, you might have some cool stories, you might have done some cool things, but when you look back on it, it was just a job that you did, and you are still you. So in closing, close range group, first thing you got to do is acknowledge your mental health. It takes as much, if not more, courage to face you in that mirror. You got to address what is potentially hurting you, harming you, scaring you, and then find those resources to address it. Don't ignore it. Don't let it control you. For the medium range group, you got to build that toolkit to help you deal with stress. Find those things, whatever they are, that help you recenter and make sure that they're dialed in solidly so that when it does happen, you're good to go. And for the long range group, start building in those mental health retreats now. Don't let these careers eat you from within. Find a way to offload those bricks and be able to survive the next 20 or 30 years, 10 years, whatever it is, to be the best you can be. As always, thank you for taking the time to listen or watch. Please follow the podcast on whatever platforms you're getting it on. Please share it with others. The more people who are listening and watching these episodes, the more it becomes in the analytics to get to other people to find it. If you can, share it with somebody that might benefit from it. I greatly appreciate all the support. And until the next one, treat your mental health as like a muscle. You got to exercise it.